All right, guys, today we'll be talking about one very useful tool in the shop, and that is the brad nail gun. This is an 18 gauge corded brad nail gun, and this is an 18 gauge cordless brad nail gun. So we're talking about their safety features today, how they work, and how we use them. The corded brad nail gun works as an accessory of one of many tools you can hook up to an air compressor. This pumps the compressible gas known as air into a very tight space so that when a valve is released, that burst of compressed air pushes on or spins or does whatever kind of actuating motion needed to do the work. In this case, this trigger releases the compressed air and it shoots the nail out of the end of the brad nail gun. So you can change the settings on here to the specific pounds per square inch or PSI that is needed to shoot that nail. Sometimes when this is trying to repressurize or meet whatever requirements it's looking to be set at, the machine will kick on, and it'll make a loud noise. But this box here is insulated and helps to reduce that noise by a little bit. So if you're doing a lot of nails in a short period of time, it's likely that your air compressor will kick on. But for the most part in class, it probably won't kick on too much. The cordless nail gun runs off of a battery. And the obvious advantage there is that there's no hose that you can trip over. There is, really less risk involved with that. The only downside of this is it's a little bit heavier because it has a motor. You can set how far you want to drive the nail here, kind of like how you would adjust the PSI on the air compressor. This is going to tell you how far it's going to drive that nail in. And obviously it runs off of a battery. So the downside there is that you have a limited supply of energy insofar as you have battery energy. So you can always have a second battery or third battery around if you're going to do a lot of nail driving in for the day. But this is great because it can go with you anywhere. And it's a very great upgrade to the shop in that wherever you can go, it can go with you as long as you have a battery. Both tools load very similarly. There is a slot where you put the brad nails. This is a set of brad nails right here, and you always look at the direction in which the spikes go. So the back of them here is sort of the wider head of the nail that's going to get driven in by that pressure. And the specific length of these is 1.25 inches. We'll talk about the length of the brad nail in just a second, but they get loaded into the slot just like this with that pointy end facing forward. And same thing with this one. Gets loaded in just like this. And the length of nail can be anywhere from 5/8 of an inch in length up to 2 inches in length. And that's the same for both of these. So 1.25 inches right here. This one tells you when you're out of nails, which is nice. So that's how those get loaded up right there. So let's talk safety, and then let's talk about how to drive in a nail. Whenever I'm operating one of these tools, I'm always assuming that the line is either plugged in and it's pressurized, or that there's a battery in it and that it's ready to roll and there's nails inside of the gun itself. When you assume that, you always use the tool in a way that is safe, meaning you always have the tool pointed in towards the work table, away from other people. You never point it at yourself or at another person, and you always treat it like it's loaded and on. If you do that, then there will never be an accident with these tools. So the safety features in them are this tip right here that has to be pressing down and into a surface in order to fire. Okay, if that's not decompressed, then it will not fire. You cannot fire this by just pulling the trigger. It will not do anything. Same thing with the corded one. It has to be pressing down into something in order to fire. So Just a moment ago, we talked about the fact that both nails in both guns are 1.25 inches. Now, the second safety thing is that you always want to make sure that whatever it is that you are driving a nail into is always longer or thicker than the nail that's getting fired into it. So these 4 pieces of wood here, their total combined thickness is 1.5 inches, which is 1/4 inch longer than the nail itself. So we're good to go. As long as this number is bigger than the nail that's in your gun, you're good to go, because obviously you wouldn't want the nail shooting past whatever it is that you are nailing into and going into a finger or whatever. So whenever we are using the nail gun, we're always going to make sure that the length of the nail is shorter than the length of whatever it is that we're nailing into. So with the cordless one, we just firmly press it down on the material, squeeze the trigger once, and drive it home, okay? And you can do those multiple times. You're always going to want to line up the place where it nails from, right there. If you're after using the tool for a while, you actually are aware of where it actually fires from, and you can get more accurate results with it. It's right there. Same thing with the corded nail gun. Press down, squeeze the trigger. And you're able to hit whatever you need to hit every time. So there we go. That is the cordless nail gun and the corded nail gun. Once again, we always treat these like they're plugged in, like they're on. So whenever we're using them, they're pointed away from the user and from people, and they're never, lying around plugged in or pointing towards where we're working. So that's how we stay safe using nail guns.